Was they white?
I think they were black. I can't remember.
You see where I was going? Wouldn't that be a very, very good way to get you some slaves? No, honestly, think about that. But they're so smart that they think they can outsmart the system. That's where the problem come in at. But my question is this: when these immigrants come from wherever and come into America, what happens as soon as they touch down? Because I always hear, we came from here, or my grandparents came here, and now they're booming. I'm like, okay, what was the steps when they first touched soil? Like, did they get housing? Did they get a grant? Like, do you go live with family? Like, what, when you touch down, what's the next step? Because I think that's place there that never gets talked about is why there's a difference between the people that live here and the people that come in. The people that live here, whatever that information is right there, they can go get it. Whereas the people that's coming in, it's like, hey, you want to do this, and that. What's the step when you touch down?
So the best way that I can kind of explain this, and I've asked my dad that too. He told me, he's like, his option was raising us in Iran, and being Christian in Iran, it's tough. And he was like, it was either that, and if you know my entire family story, basically all summed up, my grandfather was killed by a Muslim in Iran, and basically their judicial system said a Muslim killed a Christian, so that's allowed. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And
what?
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I need to go into detail on that. I know that.
But I'm saying, like, your dad made this choice, like, because we have to go, right?
We gotta go. We have no other option. No other option.
Right.
When your back is up against the wall, you're willing to do anything.
Correct. He's on the plane or on the ship. However he got here, it was either plane or boat.
Yes.
What's the next step when their feet touch U.S. soil?
Willing to do any job that's gonna keep him in a secure position, because he needs to provide for his wife and his 2 daughters. He took 3 jobs: cleaning offices and bathrooms and everything, and then during the daytime going and helping out at a junkyard, and then in between those 2 jobs he would go and help clean up a pizza shop.
Maybe I'm not saying it right.
I'm not understanding the question then.
I think he's trying to ask, like, what if they get assistance, if they get,
right.
I think that's what he's trying to imply.
Once you touch down, like, what's the next step there? Like, do you get housing? Like, do you get a job? Do they?
Oh, okay. So our extended family, it's my mom's cousin, I think, that took us in. So when we first landed, they took us in.
Okay.
We stayed with them for a month until my dad went around
and found work.
We live in a predominantly Armenian area. And he went around and tried to get whatever kind of job he could. He's like, I'll do anything.
There was no assistance. Like when we came, we came from Puerto Rico. Because we had to go from shelter to shelter, and then we had the assistance.
Damn, you too?
Yeah, what you mean, bro? I've been living shelter to shelter since I was a kid.
No, I'm just saying, because Jen said that they had it then.
Immigrant parents or immigrating.
Well, I wasn't an immigrant, but I had to go through that.
Right.
Wow. My mother was
just to get housing though, like, just to get like the food stamps, the housing. My mom, a single mom, so she would get the benefits.
You came from
Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they have Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. I mean, we're legally citizens, but it's still third world vibes over there. You feel me? Like we ain't have nobody really in our family get money like that. So we came over here. We stayed with my aunt, but then there's a time limit on that. So you have to go look for that good old shelter that's gonna take you in. Then they put you in that give you a social worker, and then you go to we call it the SSI building, but you go in there, you sign up for all these benefits that you get when you're a single mom, and then she had 3 kids, she had this, so the housing and all that stuff was granted. you know,
like
through the
Americans
government.
do too, because Americans get all those same benefits. Single mothers, they all get the same assistance.
Yeah, that's what my mom got. You know what I'm saying? So her mostly all her rent was paid for due to the fact that she really, you know, she can work, right? Because she's single. She got, you know, I was 7, 8, and then my brother was already 10, and my sister was 6. So, you know, she can't really leave us. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so we got those benefits. Those benefits come.
Okay.
So,
but then again, I'm trying to figure out your question, then, bro. Because if
answer
mine,
okay.
My question?
Yeah, your question, right? Because I feel like, you know, not malicious thing. I feel like you were trying to size it up for something. I'm not saying it was malicious. You was trying to. I'm not saying you. You was trying to, like, you know, go somewhere with that. I feel like where you were trying to go was more like, yo, these immigrants that come, they get these benefits and they get this stance or 10 toes down vibe. I could be wrong.
Hold up, Joey. Joey, go ahead, bro.
I've always heard when my people came, when my grandparents came, they worked and now we have money. But this is my first time hearing what happens when your feet touch the soil. What's it like? Do you get housing? Are you direct? Like, I've never heard that part of it. I'm sincerely asking the question. I ain't trying to lead or like, I'm getting educated at this moment. Like, honestly, like, because like I say, I always hear my peoples came here, they got work and built up. And I'm just thinking, like, so you just landed here, got a job, and now you, like, something had to connect there. But now it's making sense when she said I had extended family, or you said I had an aunt we stayed with, and then we got going. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, now, okay. That's all, fam. That's all.
No. The reason, because it was what I had brought up. Maybe I thought, you know, we was going somewhere with that convo. So I thought maybe you were sizing it up to give that an answer, which was,
no,
you know,
I was
Black Americans.
I mean, I was going to ask another question after that, but I was curious. Look at that, boy, your beard and got all bushy and shit.
I'm chilling. I wanted to go somewhere with that, though. Feel me? Like, that's why I thought you was going, you know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, well, I have a question now then.
Well, let me answer the first question you had real quick. As far as my parents. So when my parents came, my mother was pregnant with me. And it was during the Mariel boat lift. I don't know if you guys heard about that. All the Cubans that came in 1980, 1981. It was boats of Cubans, thousands of Cubans. So Jimmy Carter and Fidel came to an agreement. And basically Fidel said, whoever wants to leave Cuba, because, you know, people wanted to leave. It was horrible, communism, socialism. And my father decided to come, and my mother, he was in a relationship with my mother. And then she came with him, or they met up in the U.S. And it was so many Cubans during that time frame, the Mariel boat lift, that the government, the U.S. government, had this like sponsorship program where an American family would take in a Cuban family or a person. So I say we, I was in my mother's stomach, but they got to Miami, and then they got a family in Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. So they get to Kentucky. I'm sure they get assistance as far as housing. That family that sponsored my parents and me, they got money every month to help us. The way it works, right?
Okay.
So then my father, he told me that he didn't like Kentucky, and that he even had gotten jumped. He said some guys, they were confused, white guys, who knows what it was, and maybe it was racism, maybe not. And
shit, they heard that language and
he did not know English.
Yeah, buddy. It was like, who was he? I don't know what he is, but he's black. Get him.
Wait, he black and he ain't speaking English? What's going on over here?
Well,
so they decided to leave because I had an uncle. I had family. My mother had a brother in Philly. So we went from Kentucky to Philly. My father, he didn't have a license. He bought a car somehow. He was driving, no AC, talking about, he put me in the back seat in the ice in this cooler, and he put a whole bunch of blankets and put me on top. And he was talking about how my mother was very, she's like, I want to go back to Cuba. I hate it here. My father was driving slow. He didn't know how to drive. Anyway, he makes it from Louisville to Philly. And then in Philly, he became, in Cuba, he learned how to be an electrician. Because in Cuba, high school is like college here. By the time you hit high school in Cuba, you're learning your profession.
Yeah, they used to do that here way back in the day. They used to have trade way back in the day.
It was assistance. It was a combination of assistance, and when they got to Philly, they didn't get any assistance by then.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was like, I'm glad that y'all actually gave me the insight of what happens at that point, because in my head, I just keep thinking like no one could just land, boom, and now they just gone. And I think that's what a lot of Americans hear. So that's where you get that division of, well, y'all just give them everything. And the immigrants is going, no, bro, the shit is here.
But see, okay, you're asking our stories, which are from, I've been here since 2000, so 23 years ago. Now it's not the same. Now there are so many social programs where people are crossing the border illegally right now and being set up in hotels.
There you go, to get that benefit.
There's a complete difference with immigrants now versus
back. Those immigrants, they stood at the Row Hotel in New York. Then they vandalized it, right? Not only did they vandalize the joint, they was fighting outside. I mean, Van, you should definitely, you guys see that video, bro. They're
getting Visa cards.
They listen, the way New York was treating these dudes, bro, and these women, these kids, I don't understand. The Row Hotel. I've been in the Row Hotel. That's an expensive hotel, bro. They got a nice bar downstairs. You know what I'm saying? Like that joint, people with them, bro, those people were staying there for free.
Wow.
Housing for free at the Row Hotel. That's a 5-star hotel. Wow. Could be 4 stars, but to me, it's a 5-star. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I see exactly what you mean, because at the end of the day, like, it is a different system now compared to what it was then. Then I also, back again to where I wanted to go, was I saw like a black militia, right? There was like a black militia that was carried, they have their gun, the 2A, they represented the 2A. I don't know exactly where they was from, but I saw this video and they were talking about, we got to stop illegal immigrants from crossing because they're taking all our stuff. Like they're taking our stuff, this, that, and that. So I feel like there's a big like awakening going on with the crossing of the border, conservatives, Republicans, and then Democrats, where people of color, right? Let's just say color, like I guess minority. Let's just go. Minority is a better word. I don't like people of color. But minorities are starting to be like, yo, hold on. The minorities that are already here. You know what I'm saying? Like we are already citizens of the United States. We watching these people come in here. Now they taking up that. I feel like it's either hypocritical or either smart. From when we become, so if I become a conservative or you become, you're from Cuba, right? A lot of Cubans are known for, they go from communism straight to conservatism. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm a conservative. I'm an American. Proud to be here. I don't want no more Cubans in here. No more immigrants. Why?
Well, most Hispanic people are conservative. Most Hispanic people
by heart, but politically is different, because politically now you're taking a stance against pretty much the same thing or the same system that got you there, or the same. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there is a disconnect between immigrants and immigrants that are black or immigrants that are Cuban or Dominican or whatever. Right? Wow. Especially in the conservative world, where they're like, yo, hold on, I'm here. I made it. I got my green card. I'm a citizen. I personally don't want no more immigrants here, because I see I see the harm that it's doing.
Because it's gonna. But
at some point, you were immigrant. That's where I'm having a tough time doing the whole conservative thing, because I'm like, am I a hypocrite?
Okay, Lou. When it comes to that idea or that ideology that you're describing with my pops, it's not that now I'm here, now I'm good, I don't want anyone else coming. He has a problem with how much struggle he had to go through, and I remember it because I was in that same journey getting to America. His problem is I had to struggle so much to get to America legally. Why is it that now my taxpayer money is going to people coming here illegally, where the first thing you're doing in this country is breaking the law, and the people that are here, the people that are have green cards that are legally here and the citizens of this country aren't being taken care of? the illegal immigrants are. In California, I mean, I'm from California, undocumented immigrants get health care at the cost of California taxpayers. But then I have to pay $500 a month for my own insurance. And on top of that, I'm paying 23% in taxes.
Cali is expensive.
Every month.
Wow.
That's a great point. Illegal immigration versus legal immigration.
Legal, yeah.
So.
See, sometimes I ain't gonna lie. I can't tell you that I don't know the difference because obviously there's legal and there's illegal, right? What's going on now is like a bunch of illegals are actually crossing and they're not being stopped. But I guess, you know, you guys definitely answered a lot of the, you answered, what's your name again? Anna?
You can call me Anna.
Anna,
oh, no,
Anna's good.
Anna.
Yeah, so I feel like once again, it's like you want, and you're right, like they always say facts don't care about your feelings, right? Because the facts are the facts. You know, these people are crossing illegally, but your feelings, they're very feely. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, yo, bro, like sometimes I look and I'm like, damn, sound like these people, like, they don't gotta go where they coming from. Like, they want to come here. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I guess it's just a real split divide in my mind, right? I struggle with a lot of topics, you know, as far as
Jen,
like, you know.
Jen, you made me think of something when you were speaking about how your mom and dad had came here. And you said that a family, and where was that?
We have family in Philly.
You know, the ones that took your
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Was they white?
I think they were black. I can't remember.
You see where I was going? Wouldn't that be a very, very good way to get you some slaves? No, honestly, think about this. Listen. Think about this way back in the day. Someone come looking for work with their family, and I say, I'll take you in if you sign here, pay you, and take care of your family. For how many years? For 15 years. 14 years in.
Servitude.
14 years in, you want to, it's time for me to pay you and you out. And I'm like, nah, you good. How can you,
slaves?
Like, that's
a great plan.
That's like you walked into my trap. You was looking for something better. I offered you something better, but you ain't getting up out these woods of goddamn Kentucky. You ain't getting up out of there. Honestly.
Well, from my understanding, the government gave the family money, and then I don't know the details of it, but
they got paid for housing you, basically.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, like, because I'm not saying that happened to y'all.
They don't want you to leave because they're gonna lose that bread.
If you go back, because
where you going?
Because some folks are signed up for what they didn't mean to sign up for.
Great point. That's an amazing point, because you know slavery, right? As much as people want to make it about race, which at some point I definitely think, you know, there was about, but forget that. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
It was profit. Like, that's why slavery existed. It was existence,
profit and labor.
I would say that slavery was pretty much the currency. Like, yo, I got the best slaves. Like, yo, they gonna do this. They go, this is my worth. Like, my worth is my slaves. So I feel like modern day, as Kanye says it, modern day slavery could be, you know,
bro. When you get into
profit, got to be made, right?
When you get into how they was getting a lot of them slaves, that'll open up a lot. It'll make a lot more sense than we put everybody on ships from Africa and brought them here. It'll make more sense when you be like, oh, okay. Oh, I see how they pulled that shit off. Okay.
You showed him a Thomas Sowell video, son, man. What happened over here?
That Thomas Sowell videos.
Oh, because he literally took, when I first saw that video, he took like the whole race thing out of it and broke it down for what it was. And then when you think about it, like, oh wow, that's a different type of different. It's like, oh, I ain't never thought about slavery that way. I never even knew slavery existed outside of the US. You know what I'm saying? I was so dumb and ignorant before that video.
Oh man, slavery has been, as long as men has been fighting each other and going to war. Yeah, buddy, you getting you some slaves.
I have a question for everyone.
You gotta say it like that.
Shit, fight it. Let me see you fight against the ops and you capture about 4 of them. What you gonna do with them?
You gonna have you some op slaves.
Man, I bet you don't clean that dog shit up out the backyard. What's your question?
Okay, so when it comes to slavery, so many people on the left are so hyper-focused on the slavery of the past, which I'm not saying we should forget, because if we know, if you forget history, then you're bound to repeat it. But why are we not focusing on the slavery that's going on right now?
So I hear that all the time, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't done no research. Could you explain to me what type of slavery? Like, is it like, do they got these kids just learning stuff that they want them to, like, what is it, actual slavery, like?
No, it's actual slavery. Like,
they got people tied up
no, it's like free labor. All of the cell phones, the batteries that we have for cell phones and for electric vehicles, all of the lithium, and there's another
tungsten,
and what's the other thing? I think all of those are being mined by basically slave labor
and children.
Yes.
Well, when you say
employees in factories in China that are putting together the phone that I'm using right now to FaceTime Zoom call everyone with, those people are all in a form of slavery. I
think the people focus on that because it was here. You know, like they can relate more. Remember how we were saying earlier, when you can't relate to something, like we just watched that video, which was sad. Oh my God, that was so sad. And we're sad, but are we really about to protest and put up a fight against that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way possible you can take on the troubles of the world.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to keep your house intact? You thought the world?
Devil's advocate on that right now, but okay, we can't do anything about that, correct? But can we change the history? We can't change our own history. We can't change the US history. So focusing on something that has already taken place and passed, and constantly having our societal consciousness revolve around that, is it beneficial to us versus worrying about that same instance in our tainted history that is happening presently?
Right.
What's more productive?
But doesn't, focusing on slavery and what, I guess what would be ADOS, people that say they're ADOS, oh, well, if they continue to focus on the past, then, or if they stop focusing on the past, they have nothing to complain about. They have nothing to say, well, this is
nothing to complain about.
This is an issue. I can't do this because of this. You know what I mean? They don't have an excuse.
You're right. Completely right.
You know,
they victimize themselves because then they're accepting the fact that life is better for them now.
Like, I always knew that all that was total shit after a while, but I'm gonna tell you when I totally checked out. When them 5 black cops killed that black dude, and they went on them news platforms and was like, well, they learned that because of the systemic racism that's in the police form. I said, I'll be goddamn. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible to reach forward there. Because in my mind, I was like, oh, no, what they gonna say? Because all these cops was black.
Yeah,
I was thinking like,
for that.
Yo, they reached like, they went
they reached like,
they broke their arms reaching.
You ever seen them people reaching to that horse behind? They was reaching in there with that big glove. You never seen that, man? You ever seen them reaching there, boy, they reached. I was like, are you serious? With the Freddy Krueger arms when he was, I said, did y'all say they learned that from white racists? I couldn't believe it.
I literally was just like, when I was on live, right, just now, we was talking about J6, right? I feel like J6, because I've had arguments with my girl's family members, right? Black family, the blackity black power family. You know what I'm saying? They go hard as they'll tell you, right? Like, Trump is this, Trump is that, whatever. And then you know what we see. We've seen things that depict or kind of dismantle that whole narrative. But yeah, you meet people that are still on that wave of like misinformation wave, or they're just not informed. So you step into the room, right? You talk about the Capitol, right? Talk about why don't you like Trump, and they hit you with the J6. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, he led all of them, and they killed mad officers, mad people died because of Trump. And then you realize that only one person died. That was Ashley Babbitt. And then only one officer died, but he died like I think like a week and a half later off a heart attack.
It was later, yeah.
Right. So look, listen, right? After all that's debunked, the media, right? They thrive on racism. They thrive on this. I've noticed this is how they make their money. Al Sharpton will stop getting paid tomorrow if racism went away. A lot of people won't be made. Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson, all these people, they'll go broke tomorrow if they cannot keep talking about racism. They won't have a place to live.
Why the hell is Al Sharpton head that goddamn big, man? Why, man?
He's a skinny dude, man.
Yo,
it's the same issue with the homelessness in LA. Honestly, it's the same thing. The people that are hired to fix homelessness are making almost $300,000 a year. Crazy. They have no incentive to fix the issue, because if they fix it, then they're out of a job.
There's no more money.
The same thing with race hustlers, as Thomas Sowell calls them.
That's our whole system, though. I mean, we're doing nothing but what's always worked. Why y'all think it's not a cure for cancer? You're out your damn mind. It's definitely a cure for cancer. But guess what? It's way more lucrative to keep us sick. There's a cure for everything out there but it's way more lucrative to keep us sick. Like, what's the point of like curing it right now? If racism completely went out the door, a lot of those people who empower other people and make a whole poop ton of money off of racism, yeah, they'll go out of business, but so will we, because now we are the ops of racism, so to speak. There's nothing else to fight against. There's nothing else to fight against.
But you
except for Al Sharpton head size. That's
you can never get rid of racist people. You can't get rid of racist people. There's always going to be racist people. So at the end of the day, like, I don't understand what the end goal is. Like, okay, there's racism. Yes, there's always going to be racist people.
Right. So what? So what we about to do? Are we about to go figure it out and beat them up? Like, what you?
Well, you can't legally change someone's opinion.